Welcome to Elmwood News. I'm Camille Lewis, and today we have Miss Debbra Smith for Women's Herstory Month.
Hi, Camille. How are you?
Good.
I am really excited to hear what great questions you have for me.
As an accomplished communicator, how would you encourage our young people to develop good communication skills?
That's a good question. And I have to say that good communication is something that every person, young, old, can use throughout their lives. It will help you in your personal relationships. It will certainly help you in your work situations, regardless of what career choice you make. So there are three things that I think that everybody, and certainly young people, can do right now to make sure that they're a good communicator or they develop good communication skills. First, read. Read everything. Reading does a couple of really important things. It helps you build a vocabulary. It helps you understand grammar. It helps you with critical thinking skills. It helps you with comprehension. It's important to listen and to listen actively. And what that means is, sometimes when someone's talking, you're listening and you're only listening for them to stop talking so that you can jump in and get your point across. But in order to be a good communicator or to develop good communication skills, you have to listen to the person for understanding, so that when you respond and when you add additional information to the conversation, you are responding with their perspective in mind. So that's very important. And then finally, just be curious. Young people are at a point in their lives when they should be trying all sorts of new things and new experiences. The more you expand your horizons, the more you expand your point of view and your perspective, you will become a more well-rounded communicator and a more well-informed communicator. So those are all three things that you can do right now to become a good communicator.
Miss Debbra, can you describe one project that you worked on while at JPMorgan?
Certainly. So I spent about 20 years of my career at JPMorgan Chase in employee communications, where I made sure that employees knew that they were valued and understood how their roles contribute to the success of the organization, of the bank. One of the projects that was most meaningful for me took place when we were reopening the Chase's Wall Street headquarters shortly after 9/11. The building had been closed for several months due to damage from when the towers fell. There was debris throughout the building, so it took some time to reopen. When we did reopen the building, it was very emotional for employees to come back into that site. We could see the Twin Tower wreckage every day when we came to work. We had a lot of employees who lost family members. The bank lost several employees. So it was very emotional and very difficult transitioning back into that work environment. So in order to make people feel a little bit more comfortable about that, we had a whole series of workshops and information sessions over the course of a week, and it culminated in a reopening ceremony. That was just one of the best things I feel like I've ever done in my career. We had the choir from Abyssinian Baptist Church come, along with the local priests. We had mental health professionals, employees telling their stories, just a wonderful experience. I had employees coming up to me for weeks after that, talking about not that it was just a great event, but that how it helped them heal, how it helped them be able to move on, it helped them to come back and settle in. And so that, to me, while it had nothing to do with the specific business of JPMorgan Chase, it had everything to do with the people of JPMorgan Chase, and it was just a spectacular event, and I'm very proud of that.
Describe your role as a stewardship chairperson at Elmwood. Can you describe a successful project of the stewardship committee?
I've had the pleasure of serving as the stewardship chair for 10 years now, and we have had a number of very important stewardship initiatives over that time. But I think the one that is probably the most impactful has been the Rooted and Reaching Challenge. We started Rooted and Reaching back before COVID. The goal was to attract 100 new members. We got about 70 or 80. We were also trying to encourage all of our current members to donate 100 hours of service to the church, and we got a lot of members donating time for the very first time. Our ministries really appreciated and needed the help. And we also were trying to raise $100,000 because there were a lot of things going on in the church that needed major repairs. And we were successful in raising about $80,000 before COVID. And then after COVID, we raised a total of $160,000. And that was terrific. It enabled us to redo the NorthX. That was the biggest project of all that we needed to fundraise for. And so now whenever I walk into the NorthX and it's all repaired now and it's bright and shiny, I am very grateful for our members' contributions to that project. But beyond all of those initiatives, the thing that has been the most important to me is regaining the trust of our members. Several years ago, we had some financial difficulty, and a lot of our members did not think that we were being good stewards of their money, and we had a lot to answer for. And so to steadily rebuild that trust in what we are doing and how we're handling their finances means the world to me. And again, I am grateful for our members for an opportunity to do that.
Faith and service have played an important role in your life. How has your upbringing in Alabama and your time at Shade Grove Missionary Baptist Church shaped the way you serve at Elmwood today?
I grew up in rural Alabama during the height of the civil rights movement on my grandparents' farm, actually out in the country. And I would say they were both tremendous role models for me and really shaped the person I am today, whether I'm serving here at church or, in every aspect of my life. My grandmother, who was a force of nature, taught me 3 important lessons that came from my church experience, but that served me well throughout my life. First and foremost, she taught me that I was a child of God, and that everything that I do from the time that I wake up in the morning until the time that I rest at night, everything that I do is for the glory of God. In terms of service, she taught me the importance of quiet service. My grandmother didn't sing in the choir. She wasn't a deacon. She didn't head up any church committees, but she served quietly. She was a member of the group of women who polished the pews. She brought flowers to put on the pulpit every Sunday that she cut from her garden of herself. She cooked food for church gatherings. She cooked food for the pastor. She took care of the sick and shut in. She just went about doing those, important, behind the scenes, supportive service actions that made all the difference in the world to our members. And so that is how I view my service here at Elmwood. It's not about the spotlight, but it is about doing things that's meaningful to our members. And the final lesson that she taught me was all about excellence. It was no matter what you do it with excellence. Whether you are polishing those pews, whether you are before the congregation speaking, whatever you do it with excellence. And that is certainly a message, a lesson that I've learned, one that I try to live out both here at Elmwood and in my life in general.
Thank you, Ms. Smith, and thank you all for watching. This is Camille Lewis signing off.